Hi, it's John and welcome to the channel. Wednesday, June the 4th. I've got my big blue mug of coffee 6 minutes after 5 a.m. and I hope you're having a great day today. And pardon me if this turns into a bit of a rant. I don't want to go on very long today, but things are starting to feel familiar in this country, in Canada. You may feel the familiarity coming back as well. It may be seeping into your soul. It's almost like the days of Justin Trudeau. Mark Carney stands up to answer a question in question period, and as a word passes his lips, the Liberals and all their arrogance stand up. The man is saying words. Isn't he wonderful? He saved us from political oblivion. He's about to plunge the country into economic oblivion. Isn't he wonderful? But the real guy has shown up, folks. The guy we knew was going to show up has finally shown up. He really didn't show up all that much during his run to be the leader of the Liberal Party. He didn't show up much during the election campaign. The media didn't talk about this guy very much during the campaign. Many people like myself and people who sit all day long covering these things have talked about Mark Carney and this guy showing up, and he showed up since the First Minister's meeting on Monday. I did a video yesterday. We're begging for prosperity in this country. Trillions of dollars are under our feet in this country, and we have to beg Mark Carney for our prosperity. Watch the video. It didn't get enough hits yesterday. I'll put a link in the description. We have to beg him for prosperity. Who's the guy that showed up? This guy.
Now, so far, carbon prices have been applied sparingly. They've been set far too low.
A relentless focus on net zero. It's called the Glasgow Financial Alliance for Net Zero for a reason, because we've moved to the relentless logic of having to get emissions down consistent with the carbon budget.
So we can't meet our ultimate objectives, which is to get to net zero emissions. We can't get there unless we do not just have a cap on emissions, but those emissions are brought effectively to zero.
To reach net zero, every country, every company, every bank, every investor, every pension fund around the world will need to make some big changes. Companies' responsibility, first and foremost, is to reduce their absolute emissions. And as the report says, they need to first reduce, then report, including net zero plans. And I'm sure we'll get into the specifics of that. And then, only then, look to offset. So the companies and those who invest in them and lend to them, who are part of the solution, will be rewarded. But those who are lagging behind and are still part of the problem will be punished.
Mr. Net Zero has finally showed up, and we knew this was going to happen. I've talked about all the outs he has, all the excuses he has for not putting in pipelines and growing our oil and gas industry here. But this guy was going to show up eventually, and he showed up sitting there on a long table with the Premier's Danielle Smith at the other end. He probably wanted her as far away as possible because she's had enough of this guy. I've had enough of this guy. It makes me sick to think the words that I'm about to play for you passed his lips. He had his Justin Trudeau, there's no business case for LNG moment, just the other day. Here it is.
Now, within the broader context of national interest, the interest is in, as mentioned in the press release, decarbonized barrel. So,
decarbonized barrel of oil. It's so infuriating. Who does this? Only mediocre Canada does this. The United States doesn't do this. When oil is coming from Saudi Arabia across the ocean and comes into a port along the St. Lawrence River and drops off the oil there, they don't do this. They don't decarbonize their oil. We have to get oil from other places because we can't get it out of the ground ourselves because of people like Mark Carney and the Liberal Party. This is Mark Carney's "there's no business case for liquefied natural gas" moment that Justin Trudeau had, turning away billions of dollars of investment. You were warned about this. Somebody else warned you about this. You could have had this guy, folks.
The Liberals drove $500 billion of investment to the United States, mostly by blocking our resource sector. Mr. Trudeau, with his economic advisor, Mr. Carney, said also that there is no business case to sell gas to countries like Germany, Japan, Greece, and others that were begging for it. Now, the Americans and Qataris are beating us to the punch. So we sell our natural gas internally for $4, while the world price, or the price in Europe, is $13.
Just think you could have that guy instead of decarbonized barrel of oil Carney. And yes, the United States is beating us to the punch when it comes to making deals. They sure are. I mean, here's a story about Greece signing a LNG deal with the U.S., Germany signing a deal with the U.S. regarding LNG, Brian Lilly with an article on how Japan has now signed a deal with the United States on LNG. Here's the Prime Minister of Japan standing next to that guy, that Donald Trump guy, talking about $1 trillion deal with the United States of America, which includes, yes, LNG.
Also, with the inauguration of President Trump, the momentum for Japanese companies to invest in the United States is growing even stronger. Today, I conveyed my willingness to cooperate together to elevate Japan's investment in the United States to an unprecedented amount of $1 trillion.
By the way, Mr. Carney, how's that thing working out with those tariffs and Donald Trump, huh? Millions of elbows up Canadians thought you were the best guy to negotiate with Donald Trump. How's that working out for you right now, pal? Are you going to get it straightened out before you go on vacation for a couple of months? The guy who just played, Pierre Poilievre, said he was going to keep Parliament sitting all summer long to get things done. And you haven't straightened out the number one reason you got elected. And people are hammering Poilievre online? He wouldn't have been a good leader? Are you serious? And what do we get from you? Decarbonized barrel of oil. There won't be a pipeline built here for decades if that's where we are. And Danielle Smith needs to walk out and demand answers right now. She's been patient. She sat through the First Minister's meeting. Mr. Carney, will you end Bill C-69? Will you end the tanker ban and all the other demands? I want answers now. I knew this guy was going to show up. He's the guy I talked about at the beginning of this video, Mr. Net Zero. Things starting to feel familiar again? Is that familiarity seeping into your soul, as I mentioned? The dysfunctional government we've got right now? Oh, Mr. Carney is saying stuff. Words are saying, coming out of his mouth. This is where we are in our country right now, folks. Good God. We're so screwed. Alberta, strong and free. From Canada. Thanks for watching. I do appreciate it. If you like the video, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications, and I will see you in the next one. Decarbonized barrel of oil.